Voices are like a kind of audio fingerprint. Many of the most iconic characters in movies and television can be identified by just their voice.
Never go in against a Sicilian when death is on the line.
A perfect replica of the old opera house. But who cares?
There must be a con like me in every prison in America.
You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it.
For players of role-playing games like Dungeons and Dragons, it can be appealing for the dungeon master to make their characters that iconic. And for the players as well, they want to make their own characters that iconic. But for new people getting into the hobby, that's really intimidating. There's always, as far as I can remember, been an expectation at some tables that you are going to be in character all the time. Even if that's not explicitly stated, it's because the other players are doing it. And since like the mid-2010s, there's been this growing expectation that especially the dungeon master will be doing voices all the time for every one of the characters. And that can be intimidating to those new players and those new dungeon masters, that they would have to do this all the time. Doing voices, even acting, is really exposing. Especially doing the voices is like singing out on stage or opening yourself up to a lot of ridicule every time you do a funny voice that someone might think is really strange. And then you hear a snicker at the table and they'll shut them down. It would seem like maybe it should be easier because they're your friends, but your friends' opinions matter more to you than strangers. So what happens if they judge you? Are they friends anymore? What's going on? It all gets wrapped up in their psyche. I can do this here on YouTube because you all can't see me. All I can really see is that camera up there and the mic here, and I don't really care. There's no one in this room with me to actually mock me. I can't see your faces snickering at me. So it's easier for me to do it on here. But that doesn't even really make a lot of sense in a role-playing aspect. We don't expect someone to have the same strength as their character. I don't require you to have a 20 strength to lift the same thing that a 20 strength Hercules can do. Why would I expect you to have the same charisma as your bard? I don't have the charisma of an ancient gold dragon. I don't have the wisdom of an archdruid. I don't have the cunning and guile, the charisma of an archdevil. And my friends don't either. They are playing characters that have those stats. They aren't actually those characters. But role-playing a character in-game can be a lot of fun. Having a conversation entirely in character is a lot of fun. Hearing voices is a lot of fun. It can really add a lot to the game. One of my favorite memories from college is playing with my friend Brandon, who was playing a wizard at the time. They were on a pirate isle, and he was trying to get information out of the bartender, played by me, the dungeon master. He went up to the bartender, and he decided he was going to trade pirate stories. And for like 15, 20 minutes, we traded pirate stories back and forth, and everybody around us was laughing and having a really good time listening to us do it. But at the end of it, it still comes down to a roll, because Brandon is not his character. Brandon was a likable guy. People enjoyed his company. They liked hanging out with him. He was charismatic. His character wasn't. His character had like an 8 charisma. Still coming down that roll to say, look, I like your approach that you're trading pirate stories with this old bartender at a pirate town. That sounds like it would work. And in modern day, I might give him advantage or inspiration even, or both, to the role playing that went on. But I would give the same thing to someone that just told me that that's their approach. And that gives those players that aren't comfortable yet breaking into that shell that cover so they can start to ease into it. So they can say, well, in that situation, I want to go up to the bartender and can I get a sense for what this bartender's about? What do they want? Sure. Roll me your sense motive, or right now it would be called insight check, and see what you get. I've got a 15. Okay, you can tell that the people that come up to the bar whenever they order drinks, he keeps trying to tell stories to them about what his time being a sailor was like, but they keep disregarding it and just walking away with the drink going, thanks, bye, I'm later, and they walk over there and talk with their friends, their crewmates, instead of trading stories with him. He seems a little lonely, a little like his time has gone past, and he still wants to trade stories with people. Oh, well, that's cool. Could I roll like a deception check and maybe I could make up some stories since I don't have some about me being an old pirate? sure, go right ahead. And since you know what he wants, by all means, take advantage on that because it's a good approach. It would probably work on him and get him to like you more so that he's more willing to open up when you start asking him for information about what's happening on the island. So it's all coming back down to the same roles. The player doesn't feel like they're on the spot, that they absolutely must play in character and they absolutely must do a voice for this character for me to give them the same advantages as someone that is willing to do that kind of stuff. And if they see the person that is willing to do that kind of stuff and they start breaking into it a little bit and going, well, I'm going to act in my character, and then maybe later they do a voice or not, cool. But they don't have to. That's not required. It's just fun. When it comes to specific voices attached to specific characters and trying to replicate that again, I have a hard time if I came up with something completely original. It's one of the reasons that I do use accents with my characters is because I can write down, it's your bad Scottish accent, and then just pitch your voice deeper, or pitch it in the back of the throat, or make it look where your mouth is really full, or make it your stupid ogre voice and push out your jaw. I can do something that I can write down, and then for the tone, I can reference back to that accent and do that. I also tend to apply specific accents to specific groups of people. My dwarves all tend to be Germans, and my infernals all tend to be French. I don't think of it as a bad French accent, although it is. It's terrible. Sorry to any French viewers. I am sorry I am butchering your very beautiful language. I think of it as a good infernal accent. It's not French. It's infernal. The American stereotype of a French person is someone that is suave, sophisticated. They like a good meal. They like wine. They might be a little bit flirty. They like to talk about life. So the devil wants the same thing. Hello. No, it's fine. I just want to have a conversation. I just want to talk to you about your life and your goals. What is it that you're hoping for things? And my players like this. They like to talk to this character more than other characters. So it gets them in the mood to make a deal, and they might do something that they probably will regret later. Whereas if I was to use like a Godfather accent, that Costa Nostra kind of aesthetic that would apply to a lawful evil character. I could see you doing devils for that. If I was to talk like the Godfather or my very bad Godfather accent, I don't think my players would want to talk to this guy for very long. They wouldn't take that deal. They go, no, that person, not going to take that deal. I'm going to go run because that person does not have my best interest at heart. Whereas if they are talking to this person, like my tiefling assassin, Lebas, they will talk with this person for hours, and they like that person. So even though he clearly doesn't have their best interest at heart, they're willing to listen to him and make decisions they probably shouldn't. So it helps to use that for the good of your players to give an entertaining story. The place I would be very careful about using accents and indeed using too many elements from one culture, whether that's accents, ideologies, whatever, is when you mix them all together for a specific one to recreate a very specific culture. Because, especially with the accent, let's imagine that you have a person with a Japanese background at your table, and you want to make sure that they're included and that they feel welcome in the game. So you add some elements from Japanese mythology and Japanese history into your game, and you say, we're going to have kappas, and we're going to have Sengoku Jidai, and we're going to have Oni, and we're going to have samurais and ninjas. We're going to put those all in the world so that our friend can feel welcome and they are part of this game world. It's not just mythological Arthurian legends here. And then when they go to talk to the samurai or ninja or the kappa, you try your Japanese accent, which is bad, because mine would be. It might come off more as mocking than trying to be inclusive if you did that. I might not even do an accent. I might modulate my voice and talk in a deeper register, or I might try to talk in a really high register, talk like this, but I wouldn't try to do the accent because, again, it could come off as mocking. And people from cultures don't usually hear their own accents. Americans often say, no, I don't have an accent. Go talk to a British person or a French person or a German or anyone else. They'll say, yes, you absolutely have an American accent. I could not hear that I had picked up a Southern accent when I moved from Charleston to San Diego until I said dog in front of someone instead of dog. And now I'm a little careful about that word, especially because I have dogs. you don't hear that. It's something outsiders hear about your accent. So you are playing people in that culture with characters in that culture. Perfect opportunity to not use an accent and just use voice modulation and speed of your voice and talking in maybe a voice that gives more pauses or doesn't, talks really fast and talks like this because they're from the big city and they talk like this. They got a lot of places to go. They got a lot of things to do and their video is going on too long anyway. So we're going to speed up this voice. Not really. Not going to do that. That all depends on the player even caring and wanting their background, their culture, their mythologies in your world to begin with. They might not. I don't want to play a character from Western European American ideology. I play one of those every day. I want to play something different. I do want to play a samurai. I do want to play Vulcan or a Klingon or an orc, maybe a Klingon orc. Those are always good. I want to play maybe a Mayan Incan version of something, maybe an Inca version of a Viking in some way, and you're mixing up those warrior ideologies and going, let's make something new. I would play that. I'd want to play that more than what I am every day. But I don't mind dungeon masters taking things from different cultures and mishmashing them and making something that is interesting and original. Mishmashing is original. You come up with something there by putting all this stuff in a blender and hitting bzzz and just letting it go. That's all fine to me, as long as they are being respectful to whatever cultures these things came from and they're not trying to take a specific part of it and turning it into a punchline or a mockery. It's all about respecting all these other things and seeing value in them and bringing that into your game and saying, hey, everybody's welcome here. I think next time I'm going to make the maze video. I will get that out because I don't like breaking promises and I didn't actually promise, but I said it. I'm counting the same thing. So it's going to be out. So until next time, Dungeon Masters, remember, you're a player too. Try to have some fun.